It's been a minute since we did a video in this format. Uh, so yeah, I did the other format for a couple videos because I had some stuff I needed to show kind of up close in 4K. And what am I using? Streamlabs. I think it caps out in like 720. So sometimes it's just not the appropriate format for certain things that need to be done. So, needed to knock out some tutorials. I did some recent work that kind of inspired me to make what I wanted to make there because posted some newer projects that went really well. Lots of good, feedback on Reddit and stuff. But as always with anything on Reddit, if it gets enough views and feedback, there's always going to be that guy in the comments of like something negative or non-constructive in some way, shape, or form, which they need to be ignored. There's this amazing thing you can do on the internet, which is like when someone acts real douchey, just don't fucking respond. Like, it's crazy, right? But you can actually just not respond and keep moving. And that might actually be the best thing to do. Don't engage. Walk away. If it bothers you enough, block them. But sometimes you can turn those things into something constructive because one of the, I guess, comments that was left on one of my things was like, there's no way that you're doing this as quick as you're doing this. That project would have taken me 45 hours. I don't know how you did it in 45 hours. And listen, I don't really feel like the guy was actually even being a dick, to be fair. I get it. But the thing is, like, I am doing stuff in 4 to 5 hours, and I don't really care that much if you believe me or not. I mean, there's literally somewhere back in the last 10 or so videos, a live stream where I paint a mini start to finish in like an hour. It's just, as I've stated before, I paint like 2 minis a day. And if you do anything that often, you're going to start to find ways to streamline your processes, and it gets quicker and quicker over time as you become more efficient, as you find ways to speed things up. And part of what I do, whether it's in my hobby or my job or whatever, it's like, let's find a way to do this. Sorry, my fucking eye. You find a way to do stuff more efficiently over time, and this is what I do. I've been doing it since I repaired iPads for a job 10 years ago. What do you want from me? And like I said, you can literally watch me do it live on a previous video, and it will probably happen again because, I like to paint, and eventually I'll want to paint at the same time I want to stream. But it inspired me to actually do like a breakdown to show you my processes, and hopefully that last video on painting the Lich King has shown you how to do those quicker, speed up your processes. Because if you know how to do the slap chop like I know how to do the slap chop, it takes 90% of the work out of it, where you can let the paint do the work for you, for your highlights and shadows. And guess what? That's where most of the time goes. So then once you can do your highlights and shadows, then you can apply your base colors with the speed paints and just build on top of that, and then it just goes so much quicker. There you go. So, I took something that could have irritated me or grinded my gears and turned it into something constructive there. But yeah, so today's video is not necessarily an art video. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but we switch formats because it's the best format for chatting about stuff. First thing on the agenda, I'll tell you, the absolute last thing I want to talk about on this channel or in general is anything that has anything to do with politics, because it's so fucking annoying. There's enough content for the world to go around already out there. I don't really feel like I have anything that needs to be said that somebody else is not already saying, so I just try not to do it. But unfortunately, right now, we're about to come into a point in time to where we're going to get a lot more, even than usual, 24/7 content that seems to be a thing that you need to know about as it unfolds. Like, ever since fucking a certain event happened in 2001, the news loves to get in these just fucking doom scrolling 24/7 shit that is not good for you. And it kind of comes and goes in these phases, and we're about to come into another phase. Very often when I was on Facebook and I took little hiatuses, it was because it's like, I don't want to hear y'all's commentary on this shit. I don't want to see this shit day and night. It's not good. I was right back then about one thing that I stand by now is that that stuff's not good for your head. And here's the thing. And I mean, listen, this is just my opinion, sure, fine, whatever. But my opinion is backed by a lot of people that are smarter than I am. So, but the opinion is the following is that a lot of this stuff, it's not going to impact your day to day life by being up to date on what's going on. It's better for your mental health to step back from this shit and focus on yourself and focus on productive things that are better for your head. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I'm doing. Feel free to take my advice. I know it's right for me is that when you come into these phases, because some stuff's going to be happening it'll probably be like the next year and a half, but like it's really about to crank up over the next month, is just try not to look at it as much. Don't engage with it as much. I mean, I can't dance around it too much, but like, a certain somebody is about to get arrested and have a mugshot, and his adoring fans, unfortunately, sorry if you fucking don't like this critique. Well, if you don't like it, change your behavior, change your fucking team, because this is what your team fucking does, are nihilists. They don't listen. I'm not like a fan of that person. I'm not even really on the other side of people either. I don't really like playing teams, okay? I just want good things for myself and for other people. I want to talk constructive solutions. And unfortunately, your fucking team does not talk constructive solutions. Your team has nothing to offer but nihilism. Your team has nothing to offer but antagonizing certain groups of people. That makes you a bit of a shithead with your shithead actions. If you don't fucking like it, change who your team's with. Or don't be playing a fucking team. Just be nice to other people. Don't align with dickheads. It's not hard. Don't be a dickhead. It's not hard. Because this is what you're going to deal with. Because unfortunately, the vast majority of the people that are associating with that group of individuals, you're not going to enlighten them with any information to make them realize, oh, this guy that's my hero is going to jail. He's kind of a piece of shit. Maybe I should stop fucking with people who aren't cool with him. You cannot reach people like that because it is basically brainwash. So just don't bother. Let them run their little mouth on the internet. Ignore it. Go about your daily life. Hug your pets. Hug your family if they're cool. Make the best of your day. Ignore that shit. Turn that TV off. Turn the fucking news off. Maybe look at it like once a day real briefly if you really gotta know what's going on. Limit that at like 5 minutes. You will thank me if you do this. It will make you feel better. I learned from an interview with some Mennonite people that they just completely ignore the shit, period. And it's like, they're right. Like, they don't watch the news. They don't keep up with current events because it stresses them out. And at the end of the day, no matter what happens, they're going to be in their own little existence doing their thing, and they're going to be okay. So far, it has served them well, And I'm not saying go be a Mennonite, but I'm saying they kind of got a point there. So turn that shit off. Turn it off. Go read a book. We're going to talk about a book I'm reading today. So yeah. Which, let's lead out of the shittery and the assholery, and let's lead to the nicenesses. And, very often it feels like in the world, there's not a lot of like good things that you can do in the world. That's a common thing, I think, that a lot of us feel. We may feel powerless to make the world a better place, but in reality, there's always something we can do to make the world a better place. One thing in particular that I thought about that has crossed my mind a couple of times, and now I finally feel like a reason to put it in a video, is making nice comments on the internet to strangers. What do I mean by that? Is that I believe in the golden rule above all, which is treating others the way you want to be treated. And I know that it feels good when I've created something that I know I did a good job on, getting, nice comments and stuff. It feels good, right? It does. It's not that I'm doing it for the dopamine, but I will say that as a creator, the nice comments do make me feel encouraged. They do make me feel empowered. They make me push harder as an artist, get better. it is a source of inspiration. It is a source of positive feelings. It's really nice to wake up in the morning and see a bunch of nice comments. It's nice. So because I like that, I want to be more mindful of being that for other people too. So what I'm trying to do is I'll set a goal, right? And that goal is to maybe 5 posts, whether it's a YouTube video by a creator, whether it's a Reddit post or whether it's an Instagram post. If I see something that's really nice, a lot of times we'll see something that's nice and we might just like it and not comment, and that's fine. But it takes next to zero effort to go the extra mile and give someone a pointed I don't know what the word is, but give someone a compliment specifically and be like, you did a really good job on this. Not just like, hey, great job. That's cool too. But it's even better when it's like, you really did a good job blending those colors. Like hit that like that kind of comment, or like you had a really good point in that video on some of the, I like watching people do these like little mini documentaries. Like you had a really good job on this interview. You know, whatever it is, but these like little targeted comments. If you can just like try to do that like 5 times a day, you have no idea how much of an impact it makes on those other people. It's a really good thing to do. It's really easy to do that anyone can do. You can just be, as long as you have a fucking internet connection, you can do that. And if you do that for 5 people, you planted 5 little seeds of a good day. Someone that's a creator, very often as creators, we have a lot of anxiety and stress in our lives. So it's really appreciated, like when we wake up in the morning and we see like these nice comments and things like I did today, to like make a nice start to the day, because a nice start to the day can lead to a good rest of the day. It's a really good thing that you can do. So imagine like 5 different content creators out there. You go and you just give them a nice little, it can be one sentence to be like, hey, you did a really good job on this. And be honest. Don't just like lie. I mean, like make sure you comment on things you do actually like, but like do that. And you've planted a seed for 5 people as a good start to their day or a good end to their day. And it's so easy. You can do that. That's a good thing you can do. You know, we find ourselves in a really unique space here in 2023 where we have now had the internet for several decades, and it's been hard for humans to adjust to that. And nobody's really been able to come up with like a set of rules to make it work for our existence, to make things fit. It's been a very awkward fit for humanity to move to the internet space. And I don't have the answers to all of it, but I have a simple thing that I could suggest that might be a good idea as a denizen of the internet. A good best practice is try to do things like that. Try to be just a good person. Holy shit, it's something that's always kind of been relevant to all of humanity's history. Trying to be a good person. Try to be a good person on the internet. Here you are, you're on the internet, you're looking at my videos. So, you know, something to think about, something to do. I'm going to be doing that more. I try to do it occasionally. I want to be more mindful about doing it consistently. So yeah, that being said, yeah, I've done a couple projects and here lately that have gotten really good feedback, and that's exciting. I'm excited for myself. It's been a difficult thing because I know part of my growth is like I have to really push myself like sporadically throughout the day to work and grow and learn. I do it in my job, I do it in this, and it has good benefits. It's a bit of a difficult thing though, because I really enjoy it. It's making me better at these tasks, but it is difficult in that it drains my social battery. I am trying to find the balance here, and it's hard because like I have pushed so hard and I have pushed my social battery so hard in the last couple of weeks, and I've benefited from it. But I do need to kind of try to back off a little bit from time to time and give myself that recharge time. But I want to grow this channel. I want to grow these things that I do because, again, I'm not trying to make this my full-time job, but I know that if I hit to a certain point and I can get influence or whatever, that I do have the opportunity for like sponsorships and things. I know I have the talent here for that, but I am not at the size that I need to be for those things. Like one of the creators that I paint their stuff, they want to have people at 2,000 subscribers to be able to do like their little ambassador programs where they get like free minis and they're allowed to sell their painted stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I wouldn't have to pay for a merchant tier license if I wanted to sell my stuff. But I'm a quarter of the way there. Like my Insta is at like a little over 500. So if y'all have any thoughts on growing, getting bigger or whatever, for that purpose, I'm all ears. I'm not going to compromise what I do as far as like my content, but like, I don't know, maybe I need to like professional it up a little bit, maybe film an intro again. I don't know. I haven't done it to this point because I want to make sure I can get as much content out as possible, and that for me tends to be like less editing work to get to that point. So I should do it eventually. Maybe one of these weekends I'll just actually go film a little intro. I can throw at the beginning of my videos. Easy enough, right? Okay. But any other ideas you guys have, feel free to drop in the comments. I'm all ears. I know it'll happen. I just kind of want to try to speed it up because it's taking me like 2 years to get to this point. I'd like to think it won't take me 8 years to get to 2,000 subscribers on Instagram or whatever, or on here if it grows. I don't care where. But yeah. So if you guys have ideas, let me know. I guess this is the fourth topic of the video. Projects. So I'm working on the Godzilla still. I will be for a long ass time. Let's go bring our little buddy. Let's go bring our little buddy in the camera here. Let's take a look at him. Oh man. So yeah, this is for the Cerulean project thing that I'm involved in and have been for years. I've been in the process of packing on the milliput putty to fill the gaps and to smooth it out. Coming along. He a big boy. He gonna be a big boy. I will actually have some announcements to make on this down the road here in the not so distant future on some partnerships that are going to happen for this. One in particular, it's going to be super big and exciting. I actually can't see anything yet. It's going to be dope. I'm also working on his base right now, and it's like in pieces over on the table. I can't carry the pieces over, but it's like the base is like fucking that big. I'm actually going to do something crazy on this. I'm going to put humans to scale with the Godzilla. That Godzilla is to scale, I guess, like about 400 feet tall. It says humans are going to be like a quarter-inch tall. I actually have some more already printed. I'm going to make his base have like damaged jungle, maybe some buildings, but have some soldiers walking through it to scale. That's going to be nuts if I can. I definitely can do it, but if I do that, that'd be cool. I'm still grinding on that 5-star story per turn model. I have been working on it for like a month now. It's just I've been doing little pieces at a time. Like some little shoulder pieces are done now. I've basically been cranking on the arms this whole several weeks, but I just haven't done a lot fast. Hopefully I'll get that done soon too. I want to get it finished because I saw Zach Aurelius post on his socials for an upcoming contest. And it looks like he put a vote for 2 different things, one of which is winning by a slim margin, and God, I hope it wins. Because if it is, I'm already in. I'm going to be in. Is that he wants to take an old model, somebody take an old model and revamp it and make it new. If he does that, I have kind of a rare model that I got years ago, and I built it, but I didn't really do much with it. Is a master grade R Battler Dunbine. I don't ever see that anywhere. I don't know if they ever reprinted it, but it's very dated. And one of the things I do, if you're a fan of my stuff, is I monsterify models. I will monsterify that Dunbine. I'll give him like a gross-looking insect face inside of his helmet piece. I'll revamp the musculature inside of the armor. I'll texture the armor plating to make it look better. So if you're following Zach Aurelius and you want to see what I'm going to do, go vote for that, and I'll hop in it. I'll probably do it anyway. I'm not going to lie. Like, I want to do it so bad. Let me go grab that kit so you can see it. But yeah, Dunbine is one of my coming and going obsessions in this genre. It's so fucking cool because it's a biomechanical bug mech. I hope that the audio is coming off my headphones. Yeah, like it is. Sometimes it tries to go off my computer mic and it's stupid. But here's this old ass, dusty ass master grade Dunbine that I got from. When was this thing printed? Jesus crap. Let's see. Is there a date on the manual? This thing is dated. It is as simple as I've ever seen a master grade, you guys. Alright, it's so old that there's like almost no English on the thing. So I might not even have it. Maybe it's printed on the box. I don't know. But even like you can see, like it's intended for you to. It's not intended for you to dump it on the floor. It's intended for you to paint it up at the very least, which I did not do. I just snapped this thing and that's it. But man, when I built this, I wasn't doing anything the way I do it now. It's so long ago that I built this thing. but it's still a cool bug mech that deserves some love. Poor guy, he's all in pieces in this box. Is this head even in here? Good God. I'm sorry. I did you wrong. There's his head. But yeah, like I would probably completely remove the inner and the lower, some of the lower jaw, probably chop it off. Put some kind of a really gross biomechanical bug face in there. But yeah, so that might be in the near future for me if I get a chance to. I also don't really like the mini that it comes with. I might try to like do something with it. But yeah, we'll see on that. What else? I'm trying to think of what else I have cooking that I'd like to do. I'm trying to do, like I said, a mini or two a day. That's been my kind of thing for a while now. Um, it's made me grow as a painter and a creator, and it doesn't take me long. It takes me like an hour, so I try to fit it in my mornings, like where I'd normally be doing it right now if I wasn't making this video for you guys. Um, so we'll kind of keep on trucking with that. I've done a lot of stuff. I'll just bring a couple and show you because I think it's primarily been going up on my Insta, but maybe you're not on my Insta, right? Um, Here's one where I did an entire squadron. Where's a light? I did a little squadron of the quarter-inch soldiers just so you can see the ones that'll. These are literally going to be the ones that we printed and put on that Godzilla diorama. There's like 3 soldiers and some mechs, quarter-inch tall little dudes. That was fun. This I did some tutorials for these guys, for a couple of these dudes here. A couple of these BattleTech mechs. It's hard to figure out when everything's backwards from your point of view from the camera. But yeah, did a couple of these guys. Did a little diorama for my buddy Max from Instagram. I made him a little random project just for fun so he could have something cool. I'll mail that to him soon. My little pink mech. That was fun. But yeah, those are my projects that I've been working on. Just knock it out a minute a day. I'll keep doing those. I'll probably be posting them primarily on my Insta. If you follow on there, you should probably follow on there if you want to see more of my individual projects. I usually kind of pick and choose things that I'm working on for this channel, but not all of it makes it to the channel. So yeah, and then the final subject of today's video. I did a video a couple videos back about Alita, the movie versus the book. Well, as of last night, I finally read all of the Alita books, basically. I think there's a sequel. I have to go look it up, but I've essentially read all of the main Alita canon story now. I've read the side stories that it came with, and I'll do this end little piece. I'll talk like an overview of it, kind of relatively not too spoilery talk, and then I'll talk details after that, that if you don't want to read the book, you don't want spoilers, you probably don't watch all of it. So yeah. My original video, I was talking briefly about how Alita was a great adaptation of the first book, essentially. Now that I've read through all the books, it's a great movie, but it is not as anything but an accurate adaptation. It's kind of like a sampler. It's like a little box of chocolates with the little ones you can sample. Them you can sample little bits of the pieces that are in the Alita story, but it is not. It's different. It's good, but like again, there's the second book hardback of Alita is summed up in 5 minutes in a piece of the movie. They of course had to do that, I'm sure, to fit it in, because they didn't know if they were going to be able to make a bunch of movies. They're about to make a new Alita movie. It sounds like it. So, but yeah. So I would just say, like, if you like the Alita movie, you would definitely like the books. It's just the rest of the Alita story, and it became now one of probably my top 5 favorites book series ever now. Actually, I don't know how much in detail I want to go in on the books. I'll kind of briefly talk about some things. So yeah, there's my kind of thought of comparing the two. Now we're getting into spoiler territory for the rest of this video, so sorry. But if you want to read it first if you don't want spoilers. So like, again, Rollerball was the second book, summed up into 5 minutes in the movie. And that's unfortunate compared to the book, because like the book of the Rollerball saga was just fucking amazing. Because like in the movie, she goes into Rollerball to get money to help Hugo get to Zalem because he's like doing bad stuff. To get to Zalem, he's stealing the parts off of mechs, caught like kind of robbing them of their weapons and shit. And she goes to the Rollerball to help him fund his GoFundMe for getting to Zalem. Where in the book, she does it because she joins Rollerball after Hugo dies. Hugo dies after she's in Rollerball in the movie. It's an opposite in the book. Hugo dies because he's trying to get to Zalem, and then in her mourning of him and her trying to rediscover her life meaning, she signs up for Rollerball and finds her meaning in the playing of Rollerball. It's her meaning of life is not to be a Rollerball player, but she found herself in that, and it was a really kind of beautiful little story there that they did. The top Rollerball player that she played with turned out to be this super honorable guy, and he literally sacrifices himself to be her ultimate Rollerball battle. And it was a very moving story that deserved its own book. And, again, her story continues after that. Hugo was her first love. She, finds other love later on in life. She meets this guy, Figure 4, and he's like a human that does not have cybernetic augmentations, but he's like kind of naturally skilled with his ki to be able to take out robots. He's a badass, and they're like both badasses together. And it's like, it's cool because they're, it's like a lot of really great relationships. They're very different individuals, but they both kind of share this vibe that goes well together. And then, a lot of stuff happens. They get kind of separated for a while. And that's a whole story. And then there's a whole big story about like, because the you get to see there's kind of like the junkyard city, which is where like the poors live, versus Zalem, where the rich folks live that they don't know anything about. It's like the surface world, if you will. There actually ends up being a rebellion against Zalem, led by this like super badass giant cyborg centaur guy, and she gets involved in that. There's a whole thing with at the end of the movie, you see a guy that's like, he's, in the movie, several of the kind of quote unquote bad guys or antagonists or whatever the word is, you'll notice they get kind of taken over by somebody because their bodies are just like puppets. He takes over their body and talks to people, this mystery bad guy. And then he gets shown at the end of the movie, and his name is Nova. Well, he's of course the kind of main bad guy in the book series, Destiny Nova, as they call him in the book. And there's a whole thing with it. Again, like, I don't want to just like sum up the whole book. It would be a boring video, but he's a lot more fleshed out in his saga. And there's a back and forth between her and with him and Alita, and it has a lot of really fucked up stuff that goes down. And I'm trying to think what else to say really on that without like, again, going through some and every single detail. But like, he again, this is a spoiler part of the video, I guess. He ends up killing Ito, but there's a thing in Alita to where even when people are dead, they can get brought back to life with like a nanotech, essentially, as long as you have like a little chunk of their body or brain or whatever, he can bring them back. Ito gets brought back, and there's like a huge secret about the people of Zalem that only he knows about, that Ito found out about, that was so bad it fucked him up to where he had to have his brain wiped. And it was really sad, because Ito's Alita's father figure. And she finds him. It's like, oh, he's alive, but he's not going to remember you because of this bad secret and the thing that happened. And I'm not going to spoil that because ultimately just go read the book. But it's a kind of an earth-shattering secret about the citizens of Zalem that Ito found out and went mad, and he asked to have his memory wiped. That was some crazy messed up shit. And so there's like a big back and forth between Destinova and Alita, and the end of the book of the main canon part of the story, it was fucking sad. And I mean, not every story can have a happy ending, and it was just such a random blunt ending that I could see some people reacting to it like, this is not a good ending. And it's not my favorite ending either because it was fucked up. Like, he basically, Desi almost gets killed, and he's like barely alive in a different form. and she's going through the desert after all the crazy main story shit happens, and Destiny just fucking blows her up into pieces and she's dead, and that's the end of the canon part of the story. But like, what happens in real life sometimes is fucked up shit just kind of happens. You don't get happy endings sometimes, and I guess sometimes an ending's not the best ending that makes a happy story, a satisfying story, but sometimes shit happens. The classic example of that is the Stephen King's The Mist movie has a very fucked up ending that's much worse even than that. However, the story does continue in the non-canon stuff, the little side stories. I feel like they're good enough to be considered canon. I think a lot of people feel that way too. But part of the symbolism of Zalem and Alita, which is wild, is that Zalem itself is actually a symbolism for the lotus flower. Now, we'll talk briefly about the lotus flower. In Buddhist symbolism, the lotus flower is a symbol of enlightenment because the lotus will only grow in mud. It's rooted in mud and dirtiness and dirt, and then out of that springs a beautiful flower at the top. And what we don't know originally about Zalem is that before it was in this fucking state where it was separate from the junkyard city, from the bottom where the poor people lived and all that stuff, it used to be connected before this great civil war that separated them, and it was part of one big connected thing. There's actually a top to Zalem that looks like a big giant flower, and it's obvious symbolism that they're doing there. And after this big revolution, it gets reconstructed, which is cool. And they literally turn it back into a flower. It's basically nano machines grow a big giant flower out of Zalem and its top that goes clear in his face. And in part of that, it actually regrows, because it's a big nano machine flower, in the body of the flower, it actually regrows Alita. You find out in it that figure 4, that guy that her second big love and probably her main love, her true love, if you will, here he's been plodding along this whole time. He heard, whispers and he's been separated from her for a while, and he heard people saying that she died, and he's like, I don't believe it, I don't want to believe it, coming back to see me again. And he's sad and fucked up from all of it because he's been separated from the person he loves for this long. And surprise, he actually does, because sometimes you have to go through a dark period of bad stuff, and then boom, on the other side things can get better. And for him it does. She is reborn out of the flower, and then they do get their happy ever after in the canon. So it was I like that part. I like that little non-canon little piece there that happened. There's some other really cool stuff in the non-canon. There's kind of little battles that happen. I do wish that we got more of Alita's backstory that she doesn't know about, because part of her story is she is amnesia. She has amnesia. She does not remember her life 300 years ago before Ito found her. I would like to have seen more of her life when she was this Martian super soldier. You get a little bit of that in the side stories, but not as much as you would want. But you get a little bit of that. I wish I got more of that. There was some little stories about another rollerball racer and his fucked up story that was really good. I won't spoil too much of that, but it didn't really have anything to do with Alita. It's just past rollerball stories that were really good. And then there was kind of a final story with Alita and this assassin that's after her, and he basically, because if you have a gun in the city, because no one's allowed to have guns, it immediately makes you a class A criminal, so people have to be creative with their weaponry and shit. And she gets basically quote unquote shot at by a sniper. But it turns out, because you can't have a gun or you're immediately a class A criminal, this guy has basically figured out how to generate these ball bearings, and he flips them so hard they turn into a bullet. And it's one of those cool fights where it's he wants an honorable fight to the death with her, and he gets it out of her, an honorable fight to the death. Dope ass little side story. So yeah, that's a lot of the meat and potatoes of the Alita series. It's 3,000 pages of stuff that I sat through and read. So I can tell you that to go read it. If you like manga, I would consider it a must read of manga stuff. So check out Alita, it's dope shit. Anyway, so yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about for today's video. I'm going to keep trucking on this model, and hopefully I'll have a finished product to show you soon. All I got left to do is basically arms and the sword, and then I got to paint the arms and sword, and it'll be done in another dope-ass model to show off. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you liked the stuff in today's video. If you're new here, welcome aboard. There's an intro video pinned to my channel. Check it out too. check out my buds, Golden Lemon Tribe, link in the description for their Discord. It's artists and people like me. We work together on stuff, and they're cool people. I like them. We hang out, whatever. Anyway, thanks for coming by. Hope you have a good rest of your day.